A friend of mine sent me this article, and I really thought, I'm not kidding, I really thought that this was fictitious because it was so absurd. I thought it was a Babylon Bee story. I thought that this was a parody, but I looked at a lot of different sources, and apparently it is not. This is real. And the reason I bring this article to you, this story to you, is because it juxtaposes what Houston Police Department did with the clear facts they had in front of their eyes. So, with that, let me read this article to you, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, it is a little bit spicy, it's a little bit racy with the information here. And so, if you have kids listening, you may not want to have them listen to this and watch this. But this is, as far as I can tell, a real story. This is just from February 9th. Metro Vancouver Transit Police say they quote unquote don't know whether sexual assault suspect is male or female despite semen evidence. You can just rewind if you think that you misheard me, that I misspoke. I didn't. That's the headline. The article, it's not a very long read, and I want to read this in its entirety. I give you my opinion a lot. I'll give you my opinion today, but I want everybody to understand what some people in authority, what some so-called law enforcement leaders are actually saying. I want you to hear their words, not mine. I want you to understand that whatever bias I may bring in to this podcast, and there is that obviously, I want you to understand my positions are based on the facts, are based on truth. I'm not making this stuff up. So listen to this article. The Metro Vancouver Transit Police say they don't know if the primary suspect in a SkyTrain sexual assault is male or female, despite having recovered semen during the investigation. On February 8th, the Transit Police issued a press release. And by the way, we're going to link to this article so you can read it. And I want you to read the press release as well. I won't read the press release. I want you to read it. Issued a press release pleading for help to identify the suspect. While photos and videos showed what appeared to be a male with long hair, some basic information on the suspect was curiously omitted from the release. No pronouns were used, and no information on the suspect's sex was included. This is a law enforcement agency, ladies and gentlemen, supposedly trying to find a rape suspect, supposedly pleading with you, the public in Canada, or wherever you may be, if you're a possible witness, for help to find this person, but they won't even use pronouns when they have this type of physical evidence from the scene. In a recorded call with journalist Amy Ham, Constable Amanda Steed said the information had been initially left out because the transit police were unsure of how to refer to the suspect. Quote, "We've left it out for a reason. It's because we don't know. The video evidence shows someone who would appear female, who is female presenting, but the physical evidence is that of a genetic male," Steed said. She later confirmed in an email to independent news outlet, I believe it's REDUXS, XX. This is Canada. It might be French. Redux. Pardon my ignorance in the pronunciation, but that's the name of the publication. REDUXX. That the physical evidence is, in fact, the suspect's semen. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this spokesperson, Amanda Steed, constable, she's saying that even though they have this physical evidence, they're still not sure if it's a man or a woman who raped this woman, this victim. She says, because we don't know. No, that's not why you won't use the proper pronoun. It's because you are afraid to speak the truth because of political pressure, because someone is going to label you a person who misgendered somebody, because that violent criminal may refer to themselves as a woman when they have a penis that produced semen when they violently raped an innocent person. That's why you won't use the proper pronoun, because you are a coward. And your entire department apparently is led by cowards. Otherwise, they would give you the authority and backing to use the proper pronoun. That's why, Amanda Steed, you won't say the truth. Shall we move on? Despite claiming that the transit police, quote unquote, didn't know what the sex of the suspect was, Steed admitted that they believe he has a penis. Do you understand why I thought this was a parody, ladies and gentlemen? Do you understand why I thought this was a joke? The only joke is the people that are in positions of power that spew this stuff. This is the only joke. And it would be funny if it weren't so dangerous for you and me and everybody else that lives under the auspices of these people running these agencies. And by the way, you'll see here very quickly, it's not just in Canada, it's right here in the good old US of A. Quote, the suspect, we believe, does have a penis, said Steed, when asked if the victim was raped. But the video shows someone who appears to be female presenting, so that's why we left the gender out, because we weren't really sure how this person identifies. We didn't want to get it wrong. Did you hear that? Because we weren't sure how this person identifies. They're more concerned about the feelings of this rapist, alleged rapist, whose semen they have. They're more identified about the feelings of this person rather than apprehending this violent criminal. That's what they're worried about. According to the press release, the incident took place in August 2023 in the early hours of the morning. A woman entered Surrey Central SkyTrain station and was making her way up to the platform. But as she stepped onto the escalator, the suspect followed closely behind her. While they were on the escalator, the suspect sexually assaulted the victim. Here comes the description. The suspect is described as 30 to 40 years of age, 5'10" to 6 feet tall, with dark complexion and slender build. He was seen wearing a wig with long, dark, wavy hair, a light-colored t-shirt, black biker shorts, light-colored running shoes. Now, by the way, there's a pronoun he in there. I'm assuming that actually came from the author of this article and not the law enforcement agency, because they said they wouldn't use, they didn't know how to identify the person gender-wise. Constable Steed said she was unable to disclose any additional information. Quote, the investigation is quite complicated, and we've omitted some of the evidence to preserve the integrity of the investigation when it does go to court. So that's why we've held that information, she said, unquote. According to the website, the Metro Vancouver Transit Police is, quote, the only dedicated police service in Canada focused on reducing crime and disorderly behavior in and around the public transit system. They're not doing a very good job now, are they? They also describe one of their 4 operational priorities as, quote, reducing sexual offenses, unquote. In 2018, the police force launched an anti-sex offense campaign, which consisted of a poster campaign and a number of victims or witnesses, witnesses to text or call the transit police. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we'll link to that article. You look at it yourself and try to digest it. I had to read that thing, 5 times to actually let it sink in. This was real, to the best of my knowledge. You say, that's Canada, it's not happening here, so forth and so on. It's an extreme example. It maybe is an extreme example, but it's not the only example. It is not the only example. It's certainly not the only example of people being afraid to report or to regurgitate what they've seen with their own eyes. It's not the only example of people not being willing to speak the truth. It's bad enough in any aspect of one's life, but when law enforcement engages in this type of cowardice, this type of behavior, and it reduces the likelihood that dangerous criminals we apprehended for the sake of political correctness. Political correctness sounds like it's totally antiquated now. It sounds like it's soft. It doesn't actually explain the dire straits we find ourselves in today. But it's the only term I can come up with right now. When you do these things for political expediency or out of cowardice, you are endangering the people you're supposed to serve.